Goeienaand.
Evening.
Friday.
How are you?
Tired. Tired, disappointed. I've been through it today, so yeah, that's all I need to say about that. I've been through it, humbled, disappointed in myself, and just, yeah, that's it. But ready to do Bible study. I want to get it out of my head that I just want this day to be over.
Yes, yes.
So I want to focus now,
Yeah.
but the human in me is kind of saying, like, I just want this day to be over
Yes,
now.
I get you.
Anyway, so let's get into it.
25.
I'll try my best. Acts. Do you want to read?
Yeah, cool. Acts 17:27, verse 27-28. Indeed, he is actually not far from each one of us, for in him we live and move and exist. As also some of your own poets have put it, for we are his offering.
Offspring.
Alright, offering. My eyes are bad.
So we have to read a bit louder, we don't have the mic yet. Acts 17, verse 27-28. Indeed, he is actually not far from each one of us, for in him we live and move and exist, as also some of your own poets have put it, for we are his offspring. Anyway, I think we're gonna, because tonight's a bit tiring, we're gonna use the book a little bit, rely on it a bit more. So let's get straight into the brainy tip. Consciousness upholds the universe. God's mind, or logos, the supreme consciousness, is the source of all existence. Since God is love, the whole world is wired for love and held together in love. As I mentioned in the introduction to these readings, elementary particles like atoms and electrons are not necessarily actual things. These particles form a world of possibilities, which are made into actualities through the choice of the observer. The double slit experiment that I showed you. Essentially, the whole of reality is a construct of the mind of the observer. If you've ever seen it, if you don't know what the double slit experiment is, they shoot photons through slits in the wall essentially, and the photons behave differently when they get watched and not watched. So it's quite interesting. If you watch that, this will make sense to you anyway. These particles, the photons, form a world of possibilities which are made into actualities through the choice of the observer. They behave in a certain way when we look at them. Essentially, the whole of reality is a construct of the mind of the observer. And since God is always observing and always present, he is the ultimate reality. That's why, as far as we can see, we see a horizon, right? So there's a mountain. But it's that thing, I'll get to it now. Through him all things have their existence. Through him all things, remember that's important what I'm reading. If God is love, as we saw yesterday, then love underpins the universe. Love is the reason we live and move and exist. When we act according to this loving design, we experience God in a personal and wonderful way, and we get to know the Creator whose image we bear and reflect. We act according to our natural wired for love design, the key component for a healthy lifestyle. Do you want to start, or shall I?
No, I think you should, to be honest. I don't really understand this verse, you clearly do.
Cool. Indeed, he is actually not far from each one of us, for in him we live and move and exist, as also some of your own poets have put it. We are his offspring. So basically the verse is telling us God is the ultimate observer, he's in everything, right? The double slit experiment, and from a science perspective, what they try and tell us is, if a tree falls in the wood and nobody is there, doesn't make a sound,
Yes.
right? Well, that's where that whole question comes from. The Scherzingers cat, like, you put a cat in the box, close the box, is the cat alive or dead, right? And does the tree fall? But I go further, I ask it actually, did the tree even fall? Is there even still people are, is it alive or dead? I'm like, is there even still a cat in the box? People go, did the tree even fall? I go, no, does the tree even exist? And that's what I try to say. So there's a mountain. We can't see anything past that mountain there, but we know behind that mountain is something. We can't see it. So for it to exist, according to the double slit experiment, for it to exist and behave in the way we expect, i.e. some fields, some houses, there has to be an observer for it to, because the science says particles behave differently when they don't get observed. So in essence, those particles behind the mountain could be doing all sorts of weird stuff right now, but when we go around the mountain, we expect them to do a certain thing, right? And when we get there, they will be doing that. And that's where this comes from. This is where her argument comes from, that God is then the ultimate observer. He makes sure the particles, the photons, the electrons, and neurons, all these things stay in order. That's the design of everything. And that all comes back to the shell on a snail, how those perfect loops go, and flowers, how a flower goes, all those little things that are designed.
You expect it to be like that.
You expect it to be like that, but you only expect it to be like that now because it's designed so perfectly and we see it so perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, would you design it that good?
Definitely not.
Could anybody design everything this good?
No.
There's only a supernatural force, a higher thing than anything we've ever known, could have known to do that. It's not. It really is impossible for coincidence. And the greatest minds in history, Einstein's, everybody. I know Stephen Hawking, like for example, he's like no. But there's so many people who argue against him. And yeah, that's just what it means to me. It's like, yeah, God is the greatest observer. And then to bring that back, to bring it back to what we've learned and thoughts captive, and to move on to the second thing. So we stopped there. The last part of it said, if God is love, as we saw, then love underprints the universe. And it said, love is the reason we live and move and exist. When we act according to this loving design, we experience God in a personal and wonderful way. So, that just brings me to how bad I feel today. Like the kids drove me up the wall. I got annoyed at traffic. I've just been annoyed all day. Stuff went wrong here at home with my stuff, and yeah, it's like some days are just harder than others, and that people read all these beautiful scriptures and they're like, oh, we are designed for love, and we are, but if you don't actually work at it, work with Jesus, work with the Bible, work with your partner, work with people you trust, if that's if you need a therapist, whatever, like you have to work at it. There's no magical. No.
Better. No, you have to be fully committed into wanting to be better.
So yeah, as beautiful as that verse is, I think what it's saying to me in short is, He's not far from us.
He's within you.
He's within us.
Yeah.
We are wired to live in a way He expects us to live. He's the observer. So that double slit experiment, He's expecting His creation to live in a certain way, and we don't.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
But we can always go back. We can always try again. We can always ask again. Ask for forgiveness again. Ask for a second chance again. And that all comes through the grace. That all comes through grace, right? Anyway, I don't know if that made any sense, but that's kind of how I feel today about this.
Oh, also maybe like the way in which I can interpret is that if you are feeling alone, or if you're feeling like you have no control over a particular situation, that you shouldn't forget that He is literally within you. He lives and moves and exists within you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's all I've got to say.
Finished?
Don't know what to write down though.
Oh, we have to finish this, right? I think we've got some more talking to do about this. The verse is Acts 17, 27 and 28. It'll be in the description. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it comes down to God as the source of all existence, and yeah, we have to be aware of that. We have to be awake to that. We have to.
It's like you live and breathe.
Yeah, we
God
live and
within
breathe.
you.
Anyway, that's it, right, for tonight. Cool. Happy weekend.